What's up, everybody? Let's wait for the fam to come in. We're going to be talking about the astrology and tarot of the week. We're going over both of these things. Where's my tarot deck? Oh, here it is. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. We're going to be talking about the stars. We're going to talk about Taurus season. We're going to pull some cards, fill into the energies of the week. Um, we have made it into Taurus season though. It was a very fast Aries season. It was a little bit of a volatile Aries season. Saturn, Mars, Mercury are all in Aries, went into Aries over the last couple weeks, right? And there's been a big concentration of Aries energy in the sky. So now that the sun has moved into Taurus and we've had Venus in Taurus, things are going to start to kind of like be a little bit more grounded or feel a little bit more stable. Another big thing that's happening this Taurus season is Uranus is moving into Gemini, I believe. So Uranus is no longer going to be transiting the sign of Taurus. Uranus has been transiting the sign of Taurus for the last 7 years, since like 2018, 2019. So Uranus is about to move into Gemini. Uranus and Taurus, the planet Uranus and the sign of Taurus don't really mesh well together energetically. Uranus likes air signs and fire signs more so than water and earth signs. Uranus is a planet that's very logical, very practical. It's similar to Mercury, right? Some astrologers would say that Uranus is the actual higher vibration of Mercury, in terms of like the mind and the nervous system and like, genius, objectivity, science. Uranus is a very logical, scientific, objective, planet. Um, but when you put it in the sign of Taurus, Taurus is about, food and nature and simplicity and earth and groundedness, right? Taurus being the first of the earth signs, Taurus is a very slow moving sign as well. It's connected to the bull, right? When I think of Taurus, I always think of the Empress. I think of the Queen of Pentacles, and I also think of the Knight of Pentacles, actually, when it comes to Taurus. And if you think about these cards, even the King, Queen of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, um, the Empress, these are cards that are very stationary. They don't like a lot of movement. Taurus, Earth energy is stable, grounded. It likes consistency, it likes stability. Even with Capricorn and Virgo, Virgo, Capricorn, Earth signs. The routine. They're like, okay, give me a job. I wanna go to a job. I want to show up 9 to 5. Tell me what to do. Like I want everything to be very organized, very structured. Where Uranus doesn't like that. Uranus is like, don't tell me what to do. I want freedom. I want independence. I want to work for myself. I want to be able to roam. I want my day to day to look different. Uranus is, more that energy. So Uranus and the sign of Taurus don't really mesh well. And we've been seeing for the last 7 years, we've been seeing the work of Uranus and Taurus very strongly, not only in our individual lives. If you are a fixed sign, I'm guarantee you, if you're a Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, over the last 7 years, you've probably went through some kind of crisis tower moment. Fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, especially when Saturn was going through Aquarius. That was in around like 2020 to 2022-ish. Saturn was going through Aquarius. And then we had the eclipses going through Scorpio and Taurus at that time. The Saturn Aquarius eclipses going through Scorpio, Taurus, and then the Uranus activation at that time for the fixed signs, right? Fixed signs, they like security, stability. They don't like change. They don't like a lot of change. They like things to feel safe and secure. What's up, handsome? What can I do for you? Why are you over here? Look who's over here saying hi. This dog has gotten like super close to me. He's gotten super clingy. Look at him. Come see hi. He doesn't growl that much anymore. He's just like he's just changed. His personality has changed. Look at him. Look at he like lets me pick him up now, and I can like do this, and he won't growl at me. He used to really not like me to pick him up. He was very much against that. But I pick him up every day now. I pick him up multiple times a day. Had to get him used to it. And now he loves it. Now when I pick him up, people are like, he'll do like this little like comfort sigh. It's so cute. Look at my baby. Look at my baby. He was right here just staring at me. But anyways, the fixed signs with Uranus and Taurus over the last 7 years, went through tower moments, have, went through awakening, but also what I was saying, how has Uranus changed everything with Taurus energy, right? Cryptocurrency, our relationship with money has changed. Our value system, our food has changed. We've seen a lot of like the merging of food and science. So even more scientific food. They're like growing artificial meat now. They're growing beef, you know. I just read a story about dinosaur meat. So apparently I don't know if it was like I think it was for fashion, but I think they did like some kind of genetic thing where they grew dinosaur skin and they're using dinosaur skin for like fashion. Taurus is ruled by Venus, right? So Taurus is everything to do with food, fashion, money, resources, our relationship with money, currency, how money flows, things like this. So we've seen how Uranus, the planet that has a lot to do with technology and AI and science, has how Uranus in Taurus has influenced food, right? The technological influence of food, the genetic modification of food, right? Also cryptocurrency and the digitization of money and resources. So, over the last, 7 years with Uranus and Taurus, money is becoming something that's not so tangible or physical anymore. It's more digital, right? So now that Uranus is in Gemini, or Uranus is moving into Gemini, the energy is about to radically shift and change in terms of the direction of Uranus, uh, or in terms of what Uranus's work is, right? Gemini, Uranus loves Gemini. Uranus likes Mercury signs, especially air signs, especially Gemini, because Uranus, the planet of technology, the planet of, science, the planet of genius, the planet of technological advancement in the future, right? Being in Gemini, which is the sign connected to information and gadgets, and it's also a technological sign. Gemini is a very creative sign. It has a lot to do with invention, and it's really interesting actually, is you'll see a really strong Gemini placements in or third house placements in the charts of people that are inventors or inventive. So even like Nikola Tesla, Nikola Tesla birth chart. He has like a third house stellium, I think. Nikola. I think he has a third house stellium. Yeah, he has a third house. He's a Taurus rising with the third house stellium in Cancer. And he has Mercury in Gemini. So Nikola Tesla has a 29 degree Mercury in Gemini, which is why he was a genius. So Gemini energy the high vibration of Gemini. Yeah, he has 28-degree Mercury in Gemini, exactly. So I was like, I knew it. I was like, let me just go. Nikola Tesla came to me. Whenever someone comes to me, because I'm talking about a certain placement or a certain planet, it's because there's a message from that planet placement connected to that person, and I have to look at it. So yeah, Nikola Tesla has 28-degree Mercury in Gemini, and he has Uranus in Taurus. Ironically enough, that's so funny how I'm talking about Uranus and Taurus, and I ended up pulling up a gentleman who actually does have Uranus and Taurus. And Nikola Tesla, he has Uranus in the rising. And I always talk about planets in the rising sign and how when we have planets in the rising sign, especially close to the ascendant, we are going to embody those planets. Those planets are really going to show up in our personality and our character. They're going to show up in our career. They're going to show up in our everyday life. We are going to identify with those planets. And he was definitely a Taurus rising. I don't know if you guys know Nikola Tesla or if anybody has read his biography. He has a Libra moon, Taurus ascendant, with Pluto on the ascendant in Taurus and Uranus in Taurus. But he was kind of snooty and he was a little judgmental. And he was a little, he was high cultured. So we saw, it's really funny because, Nikola Tesla being very Venusian, Taurus rising, Libra moon, he was kind of judgmental and he was kind of shallow and he was known for making really rude comments to women, like commenting about their weight and stuff like this. Or be like, ew, you need to dress up. Like, oh, you don't smell that good. Like he was very kind of like snooty in that type of way, is because of the Venusian influence, right? But now that Uranus is moving into Gemini, we're gonna see an increase of technological advancement. A download I got as well, because Gemini rules gadgets. So Gemini is your laptop, your cell phone, your earbuds, like all the little technological gadgets that you use is Gemini. Um, and all of these things are going to start to develop a personality or a character, or they're going to get a name and they're going to get an identity because all the little Uranus and Gemini is going to bring everything to life. Let me explain. All the electronic objects in your life with Uranus and Gemini over the next 7 years are gonna develop a consciousness like an AI consciousness. Like many of them, if you are open to it, if you're adult open to adopting that technology, like everything is gonna turn into like a pet, pretty much. That's the download I got. Like everything's gonna be like a pet. Everything's gonna have a name. It's gonna have its own little sense of self-awareness. All the little gadgets around us are gonna be coming alive in some type of way. And this is what Uranus and Gemini is going to do. Uranus and Gemini is gonna bring AI and consciousness and awareness to technology, into all the little gadgets and little all the little things around us. So it's gonna feel and look very much like the Jetsons. I don't know for those of you that grew up, in the 80s and stuff, in 70s and 80s, or even if you're into like retro cartoons, the Jetsons is a cartoon that's really based on the future. And there's characters in it where there's literally like robots, like everything is alive. The microwave is alive, the television is alive. Everything has a personality, everything has a character. So I want you guys to get ready for that. Gemini is also connected to schooling and education. Gemini is connected to students and learning and how kids learn. So with Uranus and Gemini, we're going to see an evolution or transformation of schooling in like students and the way kids learn or the way like even like what kids experience at school is going to be changing and evolving. We're already seeing it. There's been a lot of these experimental schools where there's like all the teachers are AI or where students are like self-study. They're on their own individual path. There's like a lot of experimentation happening with childhood education already right now. It's happening in the world and not only in the States but also in other parts of the world. And so Uranus and Gemini is going to transform and change our relationship with schooling, and the way kids learn is going to shift and change. We're also going to see, what higher education and higher learning looks like. That's also going to be evolving and changing in some type of way and we're going to see a little bit more of like radicalization of students. So kind of like what we saw in the 60s and the 70s with like student protests and student walkouts and like the student body, both not only like in high school, like high school level, but also college level, we're gonna see a lot of like the student body, like people rebelling, like rebellious students, and may even see like attacks on students and stuff. So I want you guys to be very aware of this. The reason why school shootings are such a problem in the United States is because the United States has Mars and Gemini. So the United States is a Sag rising with the seventh house Mars and Gemini, and then they have an eighth house Cancer stellium. And they have an Aquarius moon in the third house. So the third house is connected to students and education, and so is the sign of Gemini. So the reason why the United States has this karmic thing around violence in schools, or even the school place, like the school area is like a battleground. It's like a cultural battleground. Like schools are a cultural battleground here in the United States. I want you guys to think about even like going back to like, you know, the segregation, like, the segregation movement, anti-segregation, and, going back to like the civil rights movement. I want you to think about how the civil rights movement, a lot of the fights were happening in schools with like black students attending all white schools, right? And so a lot of the violence that was happening and a lot of like even the history and the pictures that we have around like, the where the fight was happening with racial segregation, it was happening in the schools. It was happening with students, with black students attending white schools. So that Mars and Gemini in the United States chart, it shows up and it's going to continue to show up in a lot of different ways. Nowadays, it's showing up as violence in mass shootings that are happening at schools, right? But with Uranus moving into Gemini and activating the United States Mars, this is why, the revolution, the what do you call this? The not the revolution. What am I thinking of? The Civil War. The United States Civil War happened last time Uranus was in Gemini in the 1800s, right? So last time that when the United States went into a civil war where the South seceded from the North, how long ago was that? Hold on. Am I tripping? I'm like this was like 1700s, right? Hold on. Hold on. 1861. 1861. Yeah. Why does that feel like not that long ago? 1861, 18. So why does that feel like it wasn't that long ago? 1861? That was like 100 and what? 140 years ago? 150 years ago? Something like this? That doesn't feel like it was that long ago though. That feels very recent. That feels very recent. That's like four generations back of people. That's like it feels recent. So the United States went through a civil war when Uranus moved into Gemini. And the reason why the United States tends to go into crisis with Uranus and Gemini is because that's where United States Mars is at. So, Uranus in the sign of Gemini activating the United States Mars is what brings war in the United States. It's what activates the karma of war here in the United States. But anyways, Uranus and Gemini is going to be bringing a huge shift and a huge change of energy in the mutable signs. We're going to see the mutable signs be very, very activated. I was actually talking to a client yesterday who has an early degree Uranus and Sag, and they have Moon, Jupiter, Uranus all in Sag, and they're a Sag rising. And they are feeling the active. No, we didn't do the tarot yet. We didn't do tarot for the week yet. We're going to get there. I'm talking about Uranus right now. Um, Uranus moving into Gemini, they're feeling this activation of their moon. They're feeling this like, oh, I need to move, I need to relocate. Like I feel something coming, I feel something coming, right? And so, for those of us that have Uranus and Sag, like myself, I'm the Uranus and Sag generation. Or if you have Uranus in a mutable sign, you have Uranus in Virgo, Gemini, or Pisces. This Uranus transit is going to be an activation for you, for the mutable sign specifically. It's going to be a liberation point, an emancipation point, an alignment point. I think Uranus is really good at helping us activate our genius. And that's one of the things that I went through. My Uranus, because I have a Scorpio stellium, Uranus and Taurus activated me spiritually and brought me to like tarot and astrology. Uranus was transiting my third house, opposing my ninth house stellium in Scorpio. So for me, Uranus and Taurus activated my Scorpio energy and actually brought me to tarot and astrology, right? So I want you guys to be thinking about your Gemini house. For those of you that are working with your chart actively, I want you to think about your Gemini house. I want you to think about Uranus going into that house, and especially if you're a mutable sign, if you have a lot of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sag, think about like what direction Uranus is going to push you towards, or how is Uranus going to activate your genius? How is Uranus going to emancipate you or free you? If sometimes Uranus will bring a tower moment. Tower moments are definitely a Uranian thing. A sudden shift, a sudden change that happens in a moment of crisis. Because what Uranus does, Uranus releases energy all in a moment, right? This is why Uranus is connected to lightning. And so a lot of Uranian experiences are like that one moment you got fired. Oh, that breakup that you went through. You know what I mean? Oh, that car accident that you went through. Oh, that person suddenly passed away, right? And everything in your life changed. These are kind of Uranian experiences. These are Uranian transits. And if you go through anything like that, I suggest the way I learned astrology in retrospect, and I think that's the best way to learn it, is to go back to the past and take a look at experiences that you went through, and then take a look at the transits or take a look at the astrology to see what was happening or what triggered it. That's how I learned. That's how I've learned astrology mostly, is by being retrospective, going back to the past to learn from the past. I think this is this is the best way to learn astrology. If you can learn about the past, if you can learn to identify patterns of the past, if you learn astrology by kind of taking a look at the past and seeing what happened, then you'll be able to predict the future. That's pretty much how it is. Because the planets are on a fixed orbit, right? So prediction happens by studying the patterns of astrology, by studying the patterns, studying time, studying history. The best people that are the best like what do you call this? Predictive astrologers are historians. The best people that are predicting the future are people that study the past, like historians, you know? Historians have a natural inclination for where things are going to go. They're like, oh, this happened before. This happened, in the sixth century. And so, we're at this period again. So it's like you study the past and you'll be able to read the future. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, my loves, okay? So Uranus is going to be moving into Gemini. Let me get you guys the date this month. I think it's this month. Oh my goodness. It's like soon. You're in, oh yeah, like like in like a few days. Yeah. Here we go. This is so exciting. We have a Uranus Venus conjunction too. So Uranus and Venus both go into Gemini together within a day or two of each other. So Uranus is moving into Gemini this week. That's so funny. April 26th, Uranus goes into Gemini. And we have Uranus and Venus conjunction on the 23rd. We're going to talk about all of this when we talk about the astrology of the week. We're going to talk. We have Venus, Uranus in Taurus, 29 degrees on the 23rd, which is Thursday, this Thursday. On Friday the 24th, Venus goes into Gemini while Uranus is in Taurus still. And then Uranus will be in Gemini by Sunday, April 26th. So this is a very important week. This is a very important week astrologically. We are seeing a turning of the wheel. We're seeing one of the outer planets enter a new sign. This tends to bring dramatic shifts and changes. I'm going to let you guys know right now. This month, okay, especially this week, next week, as Venus and Uranus, as Venus builds into this conjunction with Uranus and separates from the conjunction as they both ingress into a new sign, we're going to see a lot of people making these radical, sudden choices and decisions. Okay. Last week was this is an important week too. This is an important period. This is such an important time astrologically. This is a period. This is where the wheel is turning. This is the turning of the wheel. What do I mean by this? Life as we know it, society as we know it, culture as we know it, humanity as we know it is entering the next timeline. The wheel of time is turning, beloveds. And, we have to lean in. We can't lean out because why? If we resist it, we're going to get caught up we're going to get, we're going to get, what do you call this? If we resist the tides of change, okay, then we're going to get stuck in the past. So we're going to get stuck. And we need to like lean in and we need to let this happen. The wheel of fortune. Yeah, this is definitely turning of the wheel. So with Venus and Uranus going into Gemini this week and Uranus changing signs, expect sudden shifts and changes. Uranus brings erratic, sudden shifts and changes. Uranus will also have you rebelling against your own life and against yourself and against like the things. So Uranus is really this energy of like, fuck it, I don't want to do this no more. It could be like that. Uranus could also be like, I was comfortable and safe in this energy, and now I don't want this anymore. Now I want to do something different. Uranus could also be like, I want to go live in Italy for 6 months, out of nowhere. Like Uranus energy, Uranus transits kind of motivates us to get out of the comfort zone and to do something dramatically shift, to do something dramatically different, and to kind of like make a sudden impulsive decision where we don't think about, where we're going. So just be mindful of this because the Uranus energy could also be, you know, you may want like to go on a sudden vacation. You might want like some sudden change or something, but you just got to be mindful with this because sometimes Uranus is not thinking about the future and not thinking about the consequences of actions, choices, and decisions. And so, if you're feeling, and then especially because, we still have Mercury, Mars, Saturn, and Aries. So this like Aries Gemini energy is very impulsive and it's very in the moment and it's very like, you know, let's just have fun now and ask questions later, or let's just do the thing now. We'll deal with the consequences later. Who cares? Let's just like have some fun and party. That's very Aries Gemini when this combination is together. Like Aries Gemini is very mischievous. These signs are very mischievous and they're very fun. They like to have fun. They don't really care about the consequences. They're not thinking about the future. They're very in the moment signs. And keeping that in mind, we want to be aware of this tendency this week, even, last week, this week, going to next week, to kind of make an impulsive decision, or we may feel like we need to, you know, our desires are taking us in different directions, our desires, our curiosities, our desires, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, and Aries, our curiosities, Venus, Uranus, and Gemini as of April 26th, right? Aries is a very desire driven energy. Mars, right? I want this. I like this. I desire this. I crave this. That's Aries. Gemini's, ooh, this is curious. Ooh, this is interesting. Ooh, this is new. This is shiny. This is fascinating. Ooh, let me play with that. Let me go do that. Let me go experiment with that. Let me go have fun with that, right? The combination of passion and desire and curiosity and novelty, right? Passion, desire, Aries, curiosity, novelty, Gemini could be very troublesome, could get us into trouble, especially when Venus and Uranus are in Gemini together. Okay. For those of you that who has a mutable Venus or who has Venus and Gemini here. Venus and Gemini is very flirtatious, it's very playful, it's very multiple lovers. It's a very multiple lover Venus. Um, Same thing with Venus and Sag. Okay. Same thing with Venus and Sag. It's a playful, light-hearted position for Venus. It's not really thinking about, it's not thinking about a lot of times in the moment, especially when it's young, when Venus and Gemini is young. Oh, as it gets older, it changes, right? Obviously. Our relationship with Venus evolves over time. But Venus, right, what happens when she's in Gemini is because she's under the influence of Mercury's energy, she's she kind of gets really loose with her values sometimes, right? Or even her discernment with lovers and partners can be very weak. And it can be very hard or very difficult to hold on or sustain a partner when Venus is in a mutable sign, right? Because Venus is in a sign of duality. Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, Virgo. These are the signs of duality. Two things, multiple things, things that are different, things that are flexible, things that come and go. Mutable energy is very come and go. And so what happens when Venus is in a mutable sign is there's a mischievousness and a playfulness that comes with love and partnership. And it could be difficult for like long-term sustainable relationships. It could be very difficult placement for long-term sustainable relationships. And a lot of times it's so funny because I've noticed that when a woman has Venus in Gemini, younger guys can like her, or younger men could like her, or she can, end up getting with these guys that talk a big game. They're very social, they're very funny, they're very humorous. But when it comes to actually showing up and being a good, stable partner, they're not really there, they're not really present. Venus and Gemini is very playful, very youthful. It's a youthful energy. So a lot of times when Venus is in a mutable sign, especially Sagittarius or Gemini, there will be age dynamics or age gaps in a relationship, and usually people that have that Venus placement will end up with someone younger than them because the influence of Mercury, right? Yeah, Venus and Gemini is definitely um, a placement of multiple partners or someone that can get bored, really be restless. It's a restless love placement, right? So with Venus, Uranus moving into Gemini this week, going into next week or this week, I'm expecting some shifts and changes when it comes to love and stuff, but we'll talk about that when we get there, okay? I'm gonna be right back. I've been drinking tea all morning. I'm gonna go use the restroom, and then when we come back, we're gonna do tarot. Oh, so Celestial Creatress says Venus and Gemini, 7 year younger husband. Celestial Creatress says, so is your husband 7 years younger than you? That's your Venus and Gemini. I'll be right back. I'm gonna use the restroom and then we're gonna dive into the tarot of the week, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Ooh, I am back. All right. Woo. How we doing, everybody? Just had my Taurus return. Love that for you. Oh, when Venus is in Gemini or Sag, dating people that are younger than you or younger people falling in love with you, you know? And also, you know what I love about Venus and immutable sign? Like you can find love anywhere, you know? You can find love on the street. You can like find love at the supermarket, at the gas station. Venus and Gemini, Venus and Sag is like you'll be at, it's like the guy at the gas station, the guy at the counter that like falls in love with you, falling in love with the bus driver, falling in love with your Uber driver, like Venus in love, Venus and Sag, Venus Gemini. You can be in school, go to college, and find love there. A lot of people that have Venus and Gemini or Sag, they'll have a childhood lover, so they'll fall in love really young, like 13, 14, or they'll fall in love when they're in college and school. One said. It has both. Yeah, so Venus and Sag and Cancer rising. Those are both signatures of being with someone older or younger, you know? Both for different reasons. So sometimes you'll have various placements that reinforce the same concept in a chart, right? Um, all right, let's go and pull cards. Let's see what Spirit has to say about the energies of the week in like Taurus season. I want to, speaking of Taurus energy, I want to get back to doing our the like month ahead or like the monthly energy reads or the monthly forecast. I remember me and Elise used to do that. She's a Taurus. That's why I was like, speaking of Tauruses. Um, I want to get back to doing that with her, where we talk about like the astrology of like the month, I'm gonna hit her up. Her birthday's coming up pretty soon. All right, Spirit, what do we got? Give us some insight into the energy of this week. It's the first week of Taurus season. We made it through Aries season. The sun is in Taurus now. Venus is in Taurus, about to move into Gemini. What's the energy of this week? What's some guidance, what's some information that we can give the people, Spirit? My cards are going everywhere. Ooh, I like these ones, but I'm gonna keep shuffling. Cause some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. It ain't you, baby. If I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, and some just want everything, but everything means nothing if I ain't got you. That song came to me so strong right now. Someone's holding on to a lover. We're holding on to the past. Spirit is saying, my loves, we got to stop this like romanticization, fetishization, obsession of the past. This like thing with the past. Like Spirit is saying this week, we really need to like be thinking about the future and like what the future looks like in forward movement. But we need to stop going back to things that don't value us or don't appreciate us. Or there's like this energy of like Five of Pentacles in reverse that just fell out. There's this energy of like there's nothing there anymore. It's like, and you know what this could also be? Let me tell you. This could be a week where Spirit shows you the well has dried up over here. Like there's nothing there to get from that person. There's nothing you get from that land. There's nothing you get from that job. There's nothing you can get from that parent. There's nothing you can get from that child. There's nothing like it's the energy of the well has dried up here, and we're looking for vitality. We're looking for new life. We're looking for redemption. We're looking for healing. We're looking for abundance from things that just don't have it that can't provide it that just don't they're not resourceful, they're not abundant things, they're things of lack, they're things of the past, they're things of old. And Spirit is saying this is a week where we really need to like value ourselves, and we really need to think about what is the future look like for me. And I'm talking to myself too, okay? I'm talking to myself too. So this is not just about you guys. It's kind of like I'm throwing this shit away. Look at her hand. Look at the Queen of Swords for those of you. Here, let me go. Like, I got to make sure I'm showing the cards to the YouTube screen too. So for when I upload this to YouTube, am I recording? But oh yeah, yeah. So look at the Queen of Swords. Look at her. Look at her. She's like, ah. She's just dropping it. I'm done with this. And you know what this is also about? This is a week where we got to reclaim our consciousness, like reclaim our mind, reclaim our thoughts, reclaim our worth. Like we got to kind of get back to our senses. Like Spirit is telling me, first week of Taurus season, come back to your five senses. Like come back to what tastes good, what smells good, what feels good, what looks good. Like it's this energy of like really focusing on nourishing the self and taking a look at how when we entertain things like this, like things of lack or things that make us feel unworthy or unloved or underappreciated or undervalued, or even things that just are no longer abundant, like the land is already dried up, the well is run dry, whatever. Like when we go back to those things or we entertain those things, you know what happens? We get disconnected from ourselves and we stop taking care of ourselves, we stop loving ourselves, we stop eating right, we stop doing the healthy things. It's like the energy of lack in like what we're relating to or what we're connecting to, it kind of sabotages us in a way, you know? It kind of stops us from like doing the good things, like being good to ourselves and eating right and like all these things. So Spirit is saying is like we really got to kind of move out of this energy, like Queen of Swords. Look at this, Queen of Swords, Four of Cups. We got to move out of this energy of like we're just look at God is trying to give us something new. Look at this Spirit trying to give you a whole new thing. Look at this. You guys see, you know what this is, right? Do you guys know what the Four of Cups is? The Four of Cups is it's the Ace of Cups, okay? It's the Ace of Cups, it's the drop ball of the Ace of Cups. So in the Four of Cups is the Ace of Cups. This is the hand of God trying to give you something new, okay? But you're so busy crying over these cups, these empty cups, by the way. If you take a look, there ain't nothing there. You're so focused on grieving and mourning these like empty cups, baby, that you're missing out on what God is trying to give you. This whole new take on life, this whole new relationship, this whole new opportunity, this whole new direction, this whole new sense of self. You're missing out because you're so focused on the stuff of the past, you know, crying over spilled milk, you're crying over the spilled cups, you know, and Spirit, God the Divine is saying, like, just drop it, like, let it go. Stop relishing on it, stop holding on to it. You know, family, I love you guys, but we need to start developing a understanding of life is always moving and life is always like dying and being reborn and stuff like this. Like life is always changing. Like nothing is ever permanent, static. That's delusion. To think that things are gonna be like that's so let me this is delusion. Okay. Let me explain to you what's delusional. Okay. Thinking that there's an end point that when you reach that end point, and no matter what it is, it could be with career, with love, whatever. And once you get to that point, everything is going to be like fixed and you're going to be permanently happy and like you're happy ever after. The happy ever after is delusion. It's that that's never going to happen. Okay? That's one. All right? The other delusion is thinking that whatever you had or whatever what was is better than what could be. Okay? Or even like romanticizing and fantasizing about something of the past and like holding on to that and then projecting that into like the future. So it's kind of like, okay, let me explain. For instance, let's say you had like this really good love experience when you were like, you know, 22, 24, whatever. And it was like good, but it was also tragic and sad, and it broke your heart, and you guys didn't end up together. But that was like the most intense, powerful, you know, love experience ever. So then you kind of fixate on it and you obsess over it and then you're trying to recreate it, right? So instead of being open and present to like new things, you're kind of holding on to this like fantastical experience of the past and you're trying to recreate it. And all it does is kind of sabotage the present and it sabotages the future. That's also delusion. Trying to recreate something in the past is delusion because nothing is ever going to be the same. Nothing is ever going to look exactly as it once was. That's just how it is. Even in relationships, everything is always in a state of transformation and change. The person that you fall asleep with today is not going to be the person you wake up with tomorrow. This is the truth. And to think otherwise and to believe otherwise is delusion. And it's how we kind of get comfortable with this process of change and this process of like letting go. Like, we got to develop a letting go process. Like, what does your letting go look like? How do you let shit go? How have you, what kind of processes, what kind of habits, what kind of active practices do you take to let stuff go? To allow yourself to move on from the past. Many people don't, we don't think about this. We don't have one. We don't have a strategy. We don't have a letting go practice, you know? When it's time for me to let something go, you know what I start to do? I start to journal about it and I start to talk about it and I also start to cry about it and grieve about it because we grieve many things, and you're going to grieve many things in life. You're not just going to grieve when people pass. Like, you're going to grieve when you leave a job. You're going to grieve when you move out of your parents' house. You're going to grieve the birth of your child because you know what you're grieving. It's crazy. A lot of times people will grieve their independence or they'll grieve who I was when I didn't have a child. And now I'm a parent and now I have to grieve this. And it's weird because you're like, why do I feel sad? Why do I feel sad about this new life? I should feel happy. But what you're grieving is kind of like this, like, it could be like a loss of independence, you know, it could be a loss of freedom. It could be like, oh, now I have this karmic thing. We grieve various things at various times, you know? Sometimes you're gonna grieve something and you don't even know what you're grieving. Sometimes you're gonna be crying and sad. You don't even know why. You don't even know what you're grieving, but there's something that's being released, something that's being cleared out, you know? Because Spirit is saying, like, look at all the wands cards coming out. Because Spirit is saying it's kind of like this reluctance, this refusal to really let go of the past and to, like, alchemize it. It's what's holding us back from the birth and the creation and the forward movement. Because then after the Five of Pentacles in reverse, the Queen of Swords upright, and the Four of Cups, I got the Page of Wands, the Six of Wands, and the Five of Wands. All fire, all action, all about initiation, getting things moving, right? And the other thing with the Six of Wands is the card of like victory and homecoming and celebration. The Six of Wands is one of my favorite cards. The Page of Wands is about initiation. So it's about beginning something. It's about, it really depends on how it shows up. But in this particular reading, the Page of Wands is showing up as like, I want to get started with something. I want to initiate something. I want to start building towards something. I want to, there's a passion, there's a desire, there's a goal, there's a vision, there's a dream, there's something that I want to kind of like initiate. But we're like, Five of Wands, Nine of Wands. You know, we're like, we're blocking ourselves. Oh, there's so much that I got to do. And we're like feeling overwhelmed and, oh, I got to do it all myself. And like, and then there's like pushback from other people. We don't feel supported or we feel very alone. Five of Wands, Nine of Wands. But it's kind of like Spirit is saying, like, beloved, get out of your own way, please. Get out of your own way. You're like, okay, this is the thing with a lot of this energy, right? Sometimes our projections onto the future and what is shown to us in terms of potential, in terms of possibility, sometimes we can get intimidated and so overwhelmed that by the future that it shuts us down in the present, you know? Like, oh my gosh, like we could see the vision, like, and Spirit, God, the divine is going to show you the vision all the time. They're going to show you in dreams. They're going to show you in moments. They're going to show you someone else and be like, you can have this. This could be you. That could be your journey. That could be right. And then when you start to think about yourself, you start to see yourself in that light. You start to see yourself in that future moment. And then all of a sudden, you get all this fear and all this anxiety. You break down and you feel sad because it feels like the distance from that future and that potential and that person that you could be and that life you could have to where you're at now. It seems like it's so far away. Oh my God. It's going to take me 20 years to get there. It's going to take me 80. I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to make it in this life. I'm not going to make it. Baby, that could be your tomorrow. That could be you tomorrow. Tomorrow. God, the divine spirit could be like, you know what? Bam, here you go. Tomorrow. And it's your life tomorrow. So it's like we need to stop. over anticipating the future, stop obsessing about the future, stop letting the future shut us down. Like, this is like the things that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to spirituality and the spiritual journey. You need to build a healthy relationship with time. You need to build a healthy relationship with time. Time looks like showing up for yourself consistently every day. That looks like a healthy relationship with time. Having a healthy relationship with time looks like you're not stressed out about the future, or you're not sad about the past. You are peaceful and accepting that what has happened, what has been, will be, and ever shall be, and ever was, and is beautiful, and we're thankful for it. And what shall be and what's to come will be. Period. Simple, easy, but it's hard, it's very difficult because our relationship with time, we have a very wounded one. We're stressed out, we're anxious. We're running out of time. We're running out of time. Oh, panic. Oh my God. I'm late to my job. Oh my God. Tomorrow. Oh. We're stressed. We're like, we're worried about getting old. We're worried about our death. We're worried about when we're going to die. Do I have enough time? Oh, do I have enough time? Oh. So this is about building a healthy relationship with time. You are a timeless being. You are a timeless soul. You are an infinite being living within a realm of time. And you're aware of this time. This is a big it's kind of messed up. It's a little confusing. Because why? You are a timeless being, aware of your timelessness, right? We know that we are infinite beings. For those of us on the spiritual journey that have done enough study, have done enough research, or even if you're a person that, you go read the Bible. The Bible will tell you over and over again, you are a timeless being. You are infinite. Okay? You are not bound by death. You can go read the Bible, and the Bible will tell you this. Jesus, right? Jesus conquered death. Because why? The soul is infinite. The soul, the sun is infinite. It doesn't go anywhere. Life and death is an illusion. It's part of this process, the cyclical process. We are born and then we die. Then we're born and we die. This is what reincarnation is about. This is why we come back to this earth time and time again. Okay? So with that being said, why are we letting time shut us down? Why are we letting the future shut us down? Why are we standing in our own way? Spirit is saying, get focused in your relationship with time. Do what you can, okay? But heal your understanding, your relationship with time. You are always exactly where you're supposed to be. And you can have the life that you want. You can meet your soulmate. You can have the abundance. You can have the dream job. You can have it tomorrow. That's how quickly it could show up. Very, very fast. But you got to have trust. You got to have faith. Time is also having a good relationship with time is also kind of having the discernment of knowing when to wait and knowing when to act. And a lot of us, we don't know, we don't have a good relationship with spirit, or we don't have a really strong relationship with our own intuition, with our guides. And so when our guides are telling us to stop, we're trying to go. And when our guides are telling us to go, we're like stopping. We're not going. And so building a relationship with time is also kind of knowing when to go and when to stop. And this is the beautiful thing that astrology tells us, right? This is a time where you're stopping because why? You have to grieve. You have to go, you're going through an inner personal thing, you know? Someone just passed away, you know what I mean? Like there's some kind of ending that you're going through. You're in a cycle of endings, closure, release, right? And we try to force ourselves through these periods. We'll be like, oh, let me just go ahead and get that new job. When we're trying to force ourselves through these periods where are more about ending or transition, guess what? We get blockages. Nothing new shows up. It feels very stagnant. It feels very stuck, but it's because you're at an end of a cycle, right? You're at an ending of a cycle. You're clearing something out, right? So healing a relationship with time is also about having an intuitive relationship with it and knowing when to stop and knowing when to go in your life, knowing when it's time to act or when it's time to wait and be patient. A lot of people don't know this. They don't have that discernment, right? And we'll usually be doing the opposite thing when we should be doing the other thing. We're usually stopping when we should be going, and we're going when we should be stopping. You know what I mean? So Spirit is saying kind of like heal our relationship with time. We should think about it this week, okay? Think about your relationship with time this week. Do you have an anxious, stressful relationship with time? Do you have to wake up with an alarm clock because you have a traumatic relationship with time, right? If you have to wake up with an alarm clock, your first on your way in your waking moment, the first thing you experience is crisis when you wake up with an alarm clock. That is a wounded, reluctant relationship with time. I would even say that people, the, I would do a study. And I guarantee you, I would find results that people who have to wake up with an alarm clock are probably depressed. I guarantee you, there's a relationship between the two. I guarantee you, there's a relationship between people that wake up with an alarm clock and mental health issues and depression. I guarantee you, because of this weak, wounded relationship with time. And this feeling of I'm always being left behind. There's not enough time. Crisis, trauma. We got to do better, my loves. We got to really work on our relationship with time. Okay. Spirit is also saying Page of Wands, Six of Wands, Five of Wands, Nine of Wands. Get out of your own way this week. When it comes to the things that you want to start, when it comes to the ways that you want, the passions you want to pursue, the choices that you want to make, whatever, like get out of your own way. The other thing I wanted to say is understand that people are not going to see the vision and not going to see the bigger picture. A lot of people aren't. And you got to learn to fight for yourself. Like you got to really want what it is that you want, you know? And this is a very hard thing for spiritual people sometimes. Spiritual people, I don't know. It's like it feels like spiritual folks, they really disconnect themselves from Mars because being aggressive, being passionate, being desire driven, being physical, being rough, being a physical, it's seen as being non-spiritual, or it's seeing like it's seen as like, oh, that's not a spiritual person wouldn't do that. Spiritual person won't knock you on your ass, won't cuss you out and things like this, right? We have like a little bit of like a disconnect from like Mars and like spiritualness, but no, like spirit is saying you got to fight for what it is that you want. You got to develop, you got to have some grit. You got to be a little aggressive. Those that are really hungry for what they want, they get it a lot of times. The desire and the hunger and the drive to get something and obtain something, when that is strong enough, like you will get it. So it's like Spirit is saying, it's like it's Taurus season. You got to get hungry. We have Mars, Mercury, Saturn, and Aries. We got the Sun in Taurus. Like you got to get hungry. You gotta want it. You gotta desire it, and then you gotta start moving toward in that way. You gotta trust and believe that you're capable. Also, there's a lot of things around like confidence, and I was talking to, it's gonna show up I think it was like a podcast. Yeah, I did a podcast episode. I'm gonna be on this person's podcast in a few months. But one of the things I was talking to them about is because I got the Sun card here, um, which is a card. It's a Leo energy. This is literally there's like a lion on the card. I mean, come on, this is the card of Leo. Okay, the Sun card. So if you take a look, what I was talking to them about was how many people that have a wounded relationship with the father have self-confidence, self-esteem issues, and they don't really believe in themselves, right? And they don't see themselves in a good light. And so there's like the wounded father creates a wounded ego and a wounded self-perception a lot of times. So, because the sun, Leo, the sun, right? The sun is the planet of identity and ego and our awareness. It's the planet of the self, but the sun is also the planet of the father in authority figures and how we see authority figures, how we see celebrities, how we see bosses, and our experience of them. So when we have a wounded relationship with the father and with authority figures, that gets internalized a lot of times as a wounded relationship with the self and a wounded self-perception, a wounded ego, a wounded identity. So when we have a disconnected or a wounded relationship with the father, we can struggle with self-confidence issues. We can struggle with leadership. We can struggle with the energy of being seen or being celebrated, or we can struggle with even like taking up space and being in leadership positions, things like this. So one of the big things coming through with the Sun card here is like you are that bitch. You are capable. You have something to show the world. Okay? This is not about what you have to give or what you have to offer. No, this is I have something to show. Sun card. Oh, I'm sorry, not the Sun card. The Strength card, Leo. This is like, I want to be seen. I want to be celebrated for my talents and my gifts. I want to be recognized. I want to be awarded. I want to be I want to get the attention that I deserve. I want to get the admiration that I deserve. I want to get the affection that I deserve. This is like I want to be seen. This is solar energy. This is like I want to be seen. I want success. I want notoriety. I want to be a leader. I want to be a boss. I want to be promoted. I want authority over this is also about this. I want authority over my own life. I want authority over my life. I want to feel like I have power and control in my life, right? A lot of people are living a life that is very powerless. You looking a little powerless in that life of yours, baby. You don't got a lot of wiggle room. You don't got a lot of wiggle room in that life of yours, my love. You don't got a lot of wiggle room. We need to create some space. How you living in that life like this, looking like in a straight jacket, okay? That life of yours looking like a prison cell, baby. What is going on? What is going on? No, no, no. No. We need to create some space. Mm-mm. I'm gonna go get my coat. Let me go. I need to prance around a little bit. Give me a second. Let me go take up some space real fast. Because I don't know. This is Let me go to I'm gonna get my coconut water. I'm a little thirsty. I'm a little thirsty. Let me get my coconut water. Listen, I don't know about this energy because this ain't me. I don't know about this. This ain't nothing. I ain't got nothing to do with this energy, baby, because I don't know nothing about this. Shy, timid, having a problem of being seen and celebrated, lacking in confidence. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Not over here. Not over here. We're shining. We're getting admired. We're getting celebrated. We're being seen. We're getting some sun, okay? Because you know what? Let me tell you. Spirit is really saying, like, we got a little bit of a wounded ego, you know? We got a wound, like, I feel like everybody, let me tell you right now, I think everybody, especially if you're raised in the United States, I think we all have, like, an ego personality identity complex. I think we all don't know who the fuck we are. And let me tell you why, for a few very, especially if you're a person of color, because we were taken away from our ancestral ethnic place of origin, which has a lot to do with identity. And then we were put into this weird country with all these mixed cultures and mixed ethnicities or whatever. And then we're like being sold culture to us. And so we think that our identity and our culture and who we are is about what we consume, about the things that we buy. You know, so I am the jeans that I wear. You know, I am the music albums that I buy. I am the movies that I watch. I am the things that I consume. I am the food that I eat. I am the things I identify with, the things that I consume. Baby, that's none of that is who you are. You don't know who the fuck you are. We've forgotten who we are, the true essence of ourselves. And Spirit is saying we need to deeply search ourselves. We need to go within to see ourselves clearly, to get to know ourselves, and to meet ourselves. We're hiding behind false identities, false egos, false personalities. We're performing identities. We're performing, you're performing, you know, what you you're performing employee, you're performing sister, you're performing mother, it's like these are all performances. None of this is who you are. None of this is who you are, okay? But the other question that Spirit is asking is so fun. This is so interesting. Who do you want to be? Because a lot of who you are is who you ended up being. That wasn't your choice, you know? If you take a look, if you go back, if you think about your life, right? You think about yourself right now in this moment in time. Do you think that you've consciously chosen to be this person that you are today? Or did you just end up this person because life brought you here? So there's this energy of needing to reclaim our identity. Who do we want to be? Who do we want to be? Who is the identity? Who is the self that you see yourself becoming? Who do you want to be? Play with identity. Play with your concept of self. Allow your ego to have fun. Allow yourself to grow and expand. Try different things out. Oh, maybe I want to do this punk rocker thing. Oh, maybe I want to do this, like, I don't know, whatever floats your boat. Maybe just play with it. Have fun, my loves. Okay? Like, don't take this whole identity, ego, personality thing so seriously. Don't take yourself so seriously. Okay? And don't be so scared of showing yourself to the world and like being someone different. It's okay for you to change. You don't have to be the same person that you were yesterday. You can decide from today to tomorrow to be someone totally different. You could develop certain parts of your character, your personality, okay, that totally transform and change the way that you are and the way that you show up in the world. It's going to take time. You got to be consistent. It's going to be hard, but you can do it. Because Spirit is saying, like, with the tarot for this week, Spirit is saying, like, we need to kind of reclaim our identity. Like, so this is like reclaiming inner child stuff, like reclaiming our inner child, reclaiming our identity, reclaiming our sense of confidence, reclaiming our sense of self. There's like this act of reclamation of all some things, getting used to being celebrated and supported, wanting to, have authority over your own life, wanting to be a leader, wanting to be a boss, wanting to be seen, wanting to be celebrated, wanting to be acknowledged, wanting to be it's like we have this. And Spirit is saying that this week is a good week to start pivoting ourselves to being seen more, to being celebrated more, we should be initiating something, thinking about what the future brings, but in a positive way, not, anxiously worried about the future, but being hopeful and excited about the future, about what we're going to build, you know what I mean? And having that vision, because when you have that vision, you just let it go. You don't worry about how we're going to, like, all the Virgo nitty-gritty details of how the vision is going to manifest. Don't worry about it. It'll just do the day-to-day thing and it'll come, it'll manifest. Spirit is saying it'll come, it'll manifest, okay? But you got to fight for yourself. That's the other thing. It's like you got to have some grit. If you really, Five of Wands, Nine of Wands this week, you know what I mean? Like, understand that the conflict that you deal with, if anybody's been dealing with conflict, right? If there's been like arguments or fights or disagreements with others that you've been dealing with and stuff like this, understand that a lot of times conflict is meant to show you something. And sometimes you get so caught up in the conflict and the woundedness and the arguments and the anger and the frustration of the experience that we miss the message. You know, and conflict will. Okay, this is what Spirit is saying. Conflict will show you what is or isn't for you. If something continuously puts you into a state of frustration, of irritation, of anger, of pain, of woundedness, if it continuously puts you in that state over and over and over and over and over and over again, it's not for you. It's not for you. Period. And some of you are fighting this. You hate it. You hate it. You hate the fact that this thing isn't for you. And it's mad and it's sad and it's frustrating. But why continue to be enslaved to it and give it more energy? Devil card in reverse. It's like you become a slave to the things that it's like you know what it is? It's like a dopamine hit. It's like a dopamine fix. It's like a lot of times the things that are constantly bringing us stress, negativity, you know, anger, frustration, we develop like this kind of trauma-based relationship with it where it becomes like a drug. It's like, waiting for the next high, or waiting for the next argument, or waiting for the next fight, we're waiting for the next, moment of crisis, we're waiting for the next fallout, or we're waiting for the next moment of betrayal. Why? Why? For what? So there's this energy of needing to choose ourselves and free ourselves from these things that only kind of bring us, conflict and frustration. And like, in that in itself is showing you go this direction, not that direction. Go this direction, not that direction. Okay, a few more messages, then we're gonna move on to the astrology, okay? A few more messages. Um, Not everyone is going to understand your vision. And some of you need to overcome like a certain connection or relationship, or you need to like fight for yourself in order to like do your vision or do your dream. So this can look like a parent that doesn't support your goal because they want something else for you. This can look like a spouse that's making it really hard or really difficult for you to like focus on yourself. This can be like, you feel guilty or bad for moving on because your kids. So you feel guilty or bad for going back to school or for like, getting new love or something because you don't want to like mess up your relationship with your kids. This can be like various things. Okay, but it's kind of showing up as like a it's showing up as kind of like because I don't want to create conflict with these people in my life, I'm going to avoid pursuing my passions or my goals, or I'm going to avoid doing my own thing. Because if I do my own thing, it's gonna other people are not gonna like it, or they're gonna disagree with it, or it's gonna create conflict. But you got to push past this. You still got to do it. You still got to push past it. This is part of the lesson. Part of the lesson is like understanding that sometimes with the things that you're gonna do, the things that you're called to, the direction, whatever, a big part of fulfilling that dream or that vision or moving that direction is by overcoming the people that are going to take you away from it or try to block you from it. And it could be anybody, it could be a boss, it could be a parent, it could be a child, it could be anybody, it could be a friend, that where it's like they're like you got to overcome them. You got to like defy them. You got to go against the grain. You can't listen to them, you got to kind of do your own thing, still go your own way in order for you to like have the goal or have the dream or whatever, and stuff like that. So, um, devil card in reverse. Definitely, gotta let go of the things that are keeping us shackled, keeping us bound, keeping us stuck. Okay, that's what the devil card is. The devil card has a lot to do with the things that keep us enslaved or things that keep us stuck, or things that keep us kind of like entrenched, and it could be an addiction, it could be a relationship, it could be, certain perspectives, pessimism, negativity, you know, yeah. So just be mindful of this week, my loves. This is a week where I think we should move towards like initiation. We're just coming out of a new moon and Aries cycle, so this makes sense. That's why the Page of Wands and the Six of Wands came out. We should like think about future direction, what we're building towards. What's the passion, what's the goal, what's the vision, what's the dream. We start moving towards it. And also, we should work on like confidence stuff this week. We should work on our inner child. We should work on being seen, being celebrated. Maybe we share our creativity. Maybe we share our talents. Maybe we start doing more promotion, more advertising. Start putting ourselves maybe on social media in the public eye in some type of way. It's also a week where you just need to be cold about it and just drop some shit and be like, you know what? I'm not gonna let that shit from the past like fuck me up no more. Four of Cups, Queen of Swords, you kind of need to be cold about it. Like, all right, I'm done. Not for me. I don't want that no more. I'm good. Queen of Swords, like you kind of be cold about it. Like, the Queen of Swords is very, all right, that was fun. It's over. It's done. It's cool. I'm good. I'm good off that. It's very nonchalant. It's like an Aquarius woman. The Queen of Swords is an Aquarius woman. Okay. When she's over or done with something, she's just done. Oh, no, there's no crying about it. There's no feeling about it. There's no trying to process it. It's very Aquarius woman. It's very, Queen of Swords, Aquarius woman. All right, I'm done. Thanks. Yeah, detached. Exactly. Just total detachment. I don't feel nothing. I don't see nothing. It's just dead to me. Like, I don't get nothing from it. It's like this mute, neutral. All right, I'm done. Or that off with your head. Yeah, that's definitely the Queen of Swords. Yeah, that's definitely or off with your head. Yeah, or that you could if you want to do that too. That's fine. Yeah, the Queen of Swords. Oh, Aquarius woman, especially if you make her mad. Oh, Lord Jesus. Anybody know any Aquarius? Anybody have an Aquarius mom? Um, what was your experience of her? Let us know in the chat. Because when they're done, listen, let me be a little mean. Let me be a little cold about it. Aquarius women can be a little mean, a little cold about it. Yeah, they could be a little mean, a little cold, a little mean. So that was the tarot portion. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and dive back into the astrology because I was talking about Uranus and I was talking about like Venus and Uranus going into Gemini from Taurus. I was talking about our first week of Taurus season. Okay, let's take a look at the chart. Let's see what we got going on here. So we have the moon in Gemini. Oh, it's so funny how the moon's in Gemini, and I posted like all this all these excerpts from books that I was reading this weekend. What do you guys think about it? What do you guys think about what I posted about the moon signs in my stories? It's Gemini rules books, and here I am when the moon's in Gemini posting all these excerpts from books that I've been reading. That's a thing though. If you want to if you're someone that wants to get into astrology and you want to, become an astrologer and all that stuff, if you want to take it seriously, or even if you gotta love to learn and you gotta love to read. Astrology is never You're never gonna fully be done learning with astrology. Astrology is infinite. It's an infinite, ever expanding thing. And in order to be a good proficient astrologer, you gotta love to read, you gotta love to study, you gotta love, you know, books and stuff. Because that's pretty much 80% of astrology is reading and books, and stuff and comprehension and stuff. Um, so yeah, the moon's in Gemini today, tomorrow, and then the moon's gonna go into Cancer. So okay, reset myself. Astrology of the week. Let's talk about it. So the moon's gonna be in Gemini today and tomorrow. Tomorrow the moon goes into Cancer. Um, by midday, Pacific time. So by 12 p.m. PST, April 21st, the moon's gonna go into Cancer. And then the moon's gonna be in Cancer Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Okay. The moon in Cancer is the cardinal, it's the waxing cardinal square. The waxing square, which in a cardinal sign. Louis, use your words, okay? Um, from our new moon in Aries that we had about a week ago now. So the moon in Cancer transit Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week is going to have things be very busy, very active. We're going to be seeing people make a lot of choices, moves, decisions over the next 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because it was a new moon in Aries, which was very activating, right? We have Mercury, Mars, Saturn all in a conjunction in Aries right now, by the way. And the from the new moon in Aries, the moon in Cancer is activating the new moon in Aries, and it's also squaring it. And that square is about activation. It's about momentum, right? Squares apply pressure to get us to move or get us to do something, right? Squares are an aspect that kind of initiate and they kind of trigger action, physical action. And so with the moon transiting Cancer, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're gonna be seeing people take like courageous, bold action. There may be some aggressive communication. There may be people kind of choosing to do their own way, or there could be even just initiations or beginnings of things. So maybe you start doing something that you haven't done before. Maybe you start a job or something like this. There may be some kind of initiation, okay? On Wednesday, though, so the moon goes into Cancer Tuesday, tomorrow. And then Wednesday, April 22nd, is a very special day. Also Thursday, but for different reasons. But Wednesday in particular, April 22nd, is very special because this is the day that the moon and Jupiter conjoin in the sign of Cancer. Okay. So this can be a day where there's some really good, blessed news for people, especially if you are a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, or if you're an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Take a look at where Jupiter is at in your own natal chart, what house you have Jupiter at in Cancer, because that Moon Jupiter conjunction can bring and sometimes it's just like a little minor blessing. Sometimes it's like a little, it doesn't have to be like you're winning the lotto, but sometimes it's like, a Moon Jupiter transit could be like, oh yeah, someone paid for your food at, when you went to go to the restaurant, or someone treated you out to dinner, or it could be like, oh yeah, you got this thing for free, or you won this little minor thing. It doesn't have to be like something big, right? We're always expecting, like, we have big expectations sometimes when with like with things that can be like really small or little, or just like, in a moment. It doesn't have to be like a big thing, right? But also, um, yeah, free ticket on a scratch or something like this. Yeah. I'm waiting on a grievance hearing decision. Yeah. Well, that's good. If you have Jupiter in your sixth house, that could be good. The dispensary had a free gift for 420. I got a cute tote bag. Oh, cool. That's cool. Yeah, so kind of like with the moon in Cancer hitting Jupiter on Wednesday, there may be some kind of like good outcome. There could be a blessing. It could be good news. That could also be a day where you leave for travel, leave for vacation, or you have an experience with a Jupiter person. So, you go to your therapist, you talk to a doctor, you talk to your lawyer that day, you go to court that day. There could be something with Moon Jupiter on Wednesday where you have to deal with like an institution, like a bigger institution in some type of way. So, going to the DMV or going to school or talking to a professor or something like this. So those are Moon Jupiter things, okay? But the moon in Cancer overall, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, is gonna have us feeling very sentimental and very emotional. This is the fourth house away from our new moon in Aries. And a lot of people right now, this like Saturn, Mercury, Mars in Aries, Moon, Jupiter in Cancer. You have therapy appointments on Wednesday. Yep, that's definitely a Moon Jupiter thing. A lot of people right now are kind of like individuating themselves from the family unit in some type of way, or they're coming back to the family unit. Let me explain. So there's a lot of people right now that are either separating themselves from like family in the past and like who they've been, where they're like, okay, I need to like I need to go my own way. You know that song? Go your own. You can go your own way. It's like people are like going their own way right now. Like, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna be independent. I'm gonna follow my passions. I'm gonna follow my own individual goals. I'm gonna do my own thing. Or they're coming back to family. Oh, I'm moving back with my parents. I'm going back, to the past in some type of way. I'm living with my mom and my dad. Oh, I'm thinking about getting married. I'm thinking about having kids. I want to buy a house. I want to have a baby. I want to get married. Things like this. So it's like we're either doing Cancer stuff or we're doing Aries stuff. But there's a tension between them. Because why? Jupiter is squaring Aries. Jupiter in Cancer is squaring Saturn in Aries by sign, right? So I want you guys to be aware of this kind of like karmic conflict that's happening between Jupiter and Cancer and like the Aries stellium, because in some ways this energy could be showing up where it's like you do got to break away from your family and do your own thing right now. You do got to tell your mom or dad no, right? But then there could also be like, wait a minute, you have to go back home because you got some healing you got to do with your mother and your father. You got to do some healing, you got to do with your past, right? In some type of way. But in general, with Jupiter in Cancer, um, in the fourth house away from the new moon, this from last week to this week, as we're finishing out this new moon cycle, people preparing to move and relocate is like a big theme, is going to continue to be a big theme, especially for cardinal signs, Cancer, Aries, Capricorn, and Libra. This energy is super activating for the cardinal part of our chart and for people that have a lot of cardinal energy. So if you have a lot of Capricorn, Libra, Cancer, Aries, Capricorn, Libra, Cancer, Aries, that was such a weird way that I listed it. Like the order was a very weird order the way I said it. But if you have cardinal energy, this is very activating. This energy is very activating. Oh, you're in Aries rising? Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, see. This is why people come to me. This is why I stay booked and busy, my love, because Aries rising has Jupiter going through the fourth house right now in Cancer. So guess what? You're moving. You're relocating. Aries rising. Yeah, duh. This is why I stay booked and busy, my loves. Because I call it like I see it. No, I'm just kidding. No, because yeah, this is the direction right now. This is the energetic pull right now. Also career direction changes, right? Very difficult experiences with bosses and with coworkers and with leaders right now. There can be a lot of stress or drama or crisis with jobs this week and next week, because of Mercury moving through Saturn and Mars and Aries. So I'm literally looking at Mercury today on April 20th. Oh, happy 420, by the way. Say 420. Today, April 20th, we have Mars, Mercury conjunct in Aries with Saturn. We have Saturn, Mars, Mercury all in Aries. Oh, and this can bring the energy of crisis or drama to the workplace. This can bring fallouts with leaders or bosses. This can also bring very difficult experiences with difficult career experiences. But what does this also say? Mercury, Saturn, Mars, and Aries. This also says that we are in a period where people are beginning a new career path. People are aligning with work that is passionate, that is soul oriented, that is connected to their gifts or their talents or their individuality. People are deciding that they want to work for themselves in some type of way, or they want to be more independent in the way that they work. They want authority over themselves. They want authority over their own life. Saturn, Mercury, Mars, and Aries. This is a beautiful energy to begin something new, to start going a new direction. And a lot of people are feeling called to this, whether they like it or not. You're starting a new career path, whether you like it or not, you know? For some of you, you don't have a choice because, right? The career path you've been on or that you were on or the job that you did or whatever is disappearing, is drying up, is no more. Is no longer. You know, people getting laid off and all that stuff. So just understand that this is a period where there is this karmic initiation happening in terms of like purpose, career, how people want to be of service, or the work that people are here to do, and also with living, where you're meant to live, like where you're karmically meant to be at for this next timeline, you know? So living, especially for cardinal people, Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, Libra. Okay, really feeling it. So Moon in Cancer, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Activation point for cardinal energies, good news coming in, talking to your therapist, talking to a doctor, having to go to court, you know, getting lucky, getting blessed, winning something possibly. Judgment day for some people, judgment day. Some kind of expansion or growth, leaving for vacation, something like that. Okay. And then the moon goes into Leo. Okay, let me talk about before I talk about the moon in Leo for the weekend, because the moon's gonna be a Leo for the weekend. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a fun weekend, by the way. This is going to be a weekend of partying. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The moon's in Leo. It's gonna be a fun, spicy, warm, hopefully warm weekend. Oh, you're traveling Thursday? Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, you're leaving right as the moon leaves, separates from Jupiter and goes into Leo from on Thursday. Around 12 p.m. PST Thursday, the moon goes into Leo. And it's gonna be a really fun, exciting weekend. It's gonna be Thursday, Friday, Saturday with the moon in Leo. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of activity. Leo is the sign of parties. So Leo rules over parties, celebration, Leo's weddings, you know, Leo is and you'll see people that have fifth house placements or Leo placements, they become wedding planners. They become, you know, they're the ones that throw the quinceañeras. They become event planners as well. They do event planning for jobs, like for a company or for a business. They'll do like event, they'll become the event planner. Like they'll be like you'll see Leos, you know, like when like a nonprofit or when a business, they have like an annual gala that they do where they throw a big party every year for like fundraising and stuff. In the charts of the people that are working around it year long, you look for Leo placements. Because there will be people that there's key people that literally work on those like big events, those big galas, they work on it year long, right? And it's like the one big party, the one big celebration. That's like what their job is, right? Leo energy, fifth house energy. Literally how it is. Yes, Friday and Saturday is the powwow, and it's the last one ever. Gathering of the Nations. Wow, that's so cool. You're gonna be going to like a big kind of like party celebration. Powwow, powwow gives party. That's so funny. Friday, she natally has the Leo moon. Oh, she's having a lunar return for her birthday. She's gonna have her own moon in Leo. That's awesome. I love that for her. Love that for your daughter. And you're going, and right? Leo birthday parties. So when we have our solar return, what happens? When the sun goes back to the natal position that it was in when we were born, what do we do for ourselves? We throw ourselves a birthday party. Celebration. The sun, Leo, right? We don't make a big deal of our lunar return, which happens once a month, but our solar return, which happens annually, oh, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. You'll know if someone likes to celebrate their birthday based on their chart. You know, when someone has a 12th house sun or an 8th house sun, they don't like to celebrate their birthday. Or when someone has an afflicted sun, they don't like their birthday. But when people have a strong sun, the sun is well aspected in the chart, or if they have like a big sun, their birthday parties are going to be big. Like every people that have the sun in the rising or Leo rising, when they have a birthday, oh my God, it's like a big deal. You know, it's because they have a strong sun. The sun is literally the planet and the sign of Leo. They're the sign and the planet of celebration and parties, you know? So there's definitely going to be an outside weekend. Yeah. It's also the trine to the new moon in Aries, right? So it's a very physically active, passionate weekend. This is also a weekend that's very full of desire, you know? So this is a very physical, desire, hungry energy with Saturn, Mercury, Mars all in Aries. You know, so I just want you guys to be mindful of the energy of this week with Mercury, Mars, Saturn, and Aries together. Of this kind of like passion, aggression, this hunger. You know, men are feeling a little bit more desire driven right now. So men are just, I don't know, men are acting weird. I've been reading some really sad, horrible, terrible things. There's been some really bad stories out in the news around violent acts committed by men, men doing violent things. And I want you guys to be very aware of this anger and this like energy in the air where men or masculine energies can be pushed to their limit and they can like break and they can like do something violent, mainly because Mercury, Saturn, and Mars are all in Aries. Okay. So this is like, you know, Aries brings violence in domestic situations or violence with families, or violence against kids, violence against mothers, violence against, you know, partners. Aries brings this energy because Aries squares Cancer and Aries opposes Libra. So opposite of Aries is Libra, the sign of marriage and relationships of the partner. And to the fourth house from Aries, the square, which is a harsh aspect, is Cancer, the sign of family and children and the mother. So with this energy, domestic violence, domestic disputes, anger or frustration in the household can be triggering, where men can do very extreme things, or people that I don't want to say men, masculine energies, people, Martian people can get pushed to an extreme and do something that they regret, you know? So this is a this week and next week, as we have Mercury, Saturn, Mars, and Aries, be very mindful of what you go to war for, what you fight for, and be careful with triggering people that you know have violent, angry tendencies. Okay. I just got to say this. It's been all there's been have you guys been watching I don't watch news, but have you guys been like, you know, reading the articles and stuff? I don't watch the news. I don't watch television that way. But I do like read a lot of, you know, news articles and stuff like this. And there's a lot of going on violence, you know, a lot of violent things happening in the domestic relationship realm. Um there's been some crazy stories. I'm not going to mention any of them, but what I will say is just be mindful of this energy, okay? This combination of Mercury, Saturn, Mars, and Aries, though, anybody that has this in their chart, very, very smart, very dominant, very controlling, very, you know, very assertive. You know, anybody born with this, if someone is born with this in their chart, this Mercury, Mars, Saturn conjunction, um, they're gonna be very mean and very aggressive, you know. They're gonna be a little, they can be. It really they can have a disposition for it, you know, Saturn, Mercury, Mars. This is about also violence with siblings or, you know, um having angry siblings or having an older brother possibly that's mean or criminal activity. Criminal activity in the family. Yeah, very athletic too. Yeah, Saturn, Mercury, Mars can definitely be a signature of someone that is like a karate, boxer, athlete type of person for sure. Someone that does something very physical. Also very mechanically gifted. So like an engineer, an architect, you know, someone that drives airplanes, stuff like this. Those are the good things from Mercury, Mars, Saturn together. But this can be very, very violent, very aggressive, very violent as well. You know, this shows up. This kind of astrology shows up in the charts of people that are like criminals. So people that, you know, deal drugs or people that end up in jail or people that like steal things, like thievery. That's like a Mercury, Mars, Saturn thing. When Mercury is being influenced by Mars and Saturn, you get thievery, you get jobs or work that is very lowly or very black market or very outside of society, okay? The underbelly of society. Sometimes these people will work odd jobs or they'll work jobs that are not in the public. So they'll work in the sewer system or they'll work, you know, in the backside of a restaurant. Um, they could do very lowly work, Mercury, Mars, Saturn combination could bring that. When Mercury's there, Mercury, Mars, and Mercury, Saturn, not Saturn, Mars together. Saturn, Mars is its own thing. And Saturn, Mars is together. I'm talking about the influence of Mercury on this. Okay. All right. So let's keep going. Someone asked about Venus. We're gonna get there. We're gonna talk about that. Venus Uranus conjunction. So the moon's gonna be in Leo, right? The moon's gonna be in Leo. Um, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the moon's gonna go into Virgo on Sunday. Okay. But what's also happening this week? Venus moves into Gemini, and we have a Venus Uranus conjunction right before it. And Uranus goes into Gemini. So Venus and Uranus both go into Gemini, but they conjoin at 29 degrees Taurus. Okay. So let's go ahead and track this. Let's see. Okay. So April 23rd, Thursday, April 23rd, Venus Uranus conjunct in Taurus. Okay. Friday, April 24th, Venus goes into Gemini. Sunday, April 26th, Uranus goes into Gemini. Okay. So Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Thursday, we have Venus Uranus conjunction. Friday, Venus goes into Gemini. Saturday or Sunday, Uranus goes into Gemini. Okay. This transit is going to be very important for people that have anything around the last degrees of a fixed sign or the early degrees of a mutable sign. So if you have anything in the early degrees of Gemini, Sag, Virgo, or Pisces, anything at the last degrees of Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, this can actually be an activating aspect that gets something to move. Okay. Venus is the planet of money. Venus is the planet of love and relationships and partnerships, the planet of commitment. Venus has a lot to do with the law. Venus is also women and our relationship with women. Okay. Uranus is the planet of sudden erratic things, shifts, change. You know, when Venus is with Uranus, this can be love at first sight. This could be breakups. This could be meeting people in very strange ways, right? This can also be about financial windfalls or financial, like good things that come in financially, right? With Venus is with Uranus. But I want you guys to be very aware of this, specifically on Thursday when Venus and Uranus conjoin at 29 degrees Taurus. This is going to be a very pivotal day for many people, I think, or it can be. And this can be a day where things kind of feel a little unstable or a little erratic when it comes to love and partnerships and relationships. But I don't know, the download I got was like, I don't know. I feel like with Venus going into Gemini right after this conjunction, and then Venus here supposed to go into Gemini after this conjunction, I feel like this is a weekend where we can just like meet someone new. We can meet someone in like a new, fun, erratic way. I was kind of getting more of like a new connect, like new connections coming in, new friendships, new opportunities, stuff like that. But this is also definitely a breakup transit. So Venus conjoined Uranus, especially in Taurus, it'll be about, trust, opposite of Taurus is Scorpio. So betrayal, trust issues can be why we break up. Money issues could be why we break up. Or even like values, different values. So it's like, oh, you value this, I value this. You want to get married, I don't want to get married. You want to have babies, I don't want to have a baby. You want to live over here, I don't want to live over here. There could be certain things in terms of like values in the relationship that cause people to like break up or separate. Um, but this is a very fun, exciting. I don't know. I was seeing more of a positive energy. I was seeing more of like meeting new friends and meeting new people and like, meeting a new lover or like a love at first sight. You know, Venus Uranus things bring love at first sight. Or like when you meet someone, people that have this in their chart, like that Venus Uranus and aspect, Very quick, fast, sudden romances. You fall in love with someone in a moment, right? It's very electrifying, it's very stimulating, but it's not very sustainable, right? Um, Venus Uranus can bring a really, wild, quick, fast, love affair that doesn't really last, doesn't really withstand the test of time. It was just meant to shake you up. Sometimes the universe brings you people or brings you experiences just to shake you up and just to get you moving, just to like stimulate some things and create a little bit of drama, create a little bit of, let's go ahead and throw a little bone over there. Let's go ahead and stimulate that little life of yours. It's looking a little boring. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it may not last. It may not last. May not last. No, it may not last. May not last. No. May not last. It may not last. You're just looking a little bored. Universe just wanted to make your life look a little interesting for a second. You know what I mean? Just for a second. May not last, right? Good time, long time. Here for a good time, not a long time. Uranus is here for a good time, not for a long time. Okay? Uranus is here for a good time, not a long time. He wants to have some fun. He wants to party. He wants to do his thing. He wants to do some drugs. He wants to jump off of a cliff. He wants to jump out of an airplane. He lives for the moment. But then when you ask him, Uranus, all right, it's time for you to be a dad. He's like, I don't know nothing about. All right, Uranus, it's time to get married. I don't even like the institution of marriage. I don't believe in it. You know? A nice little plot twist. Hmm. But yeah, I like this though. It is a degree of crisis though. One of the things I will say, this can look like a sudden shift with money or finances. So the combination of Venus, Uranus, and then the moon going into Virgo on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, right? Sunday of this week into Monday and Tuesday of next week. This could also be about job losses or big sudden shifts and changes with money and how we're making money. So there could be like a breakthrough. It could be a financial breakthrough, where it's like, oh my gosh, this is my idea or this is the opportunity or something. But this could also be about a job loss or like a sudden shift or change with money and finances. So I just want you guys to be aware of this, okay? Because if that were to happen, you can just blame it on Uranus, okay? Gilbo, what are you doing, handsome? Why are you so itchy? What's going on? Why are you so itchy? I gotta get him. I have his flea medication. I stopped giving it to him over the winter time because there was no fleas. We weren't going anywhere. So I got to start giving it to him again because it's heating up over here. We're starting to get the fleas back. You know what? Some of these UPS, FedEx men, I swear, they're all Gemini Sages though. That's why you can never, with a man like a FedEx man or like a UPS man, never. They're off limits, okay? Because they are Gemini Sag energy, and like yeah, they'll come inside and they'll give you a good time, whatever. But baby, you can't turn those men into husbands and stuff. Like you can't turn those men are for the streets. They're literally in the streets every day. These Gemini Sag men, they're for the streets where they belong, delivering our mail, delivering our packages, taking me from point A to point B, okay? But we're not going to the courthouse, we're not getting married. They are where they belong, in the streets. Gemini Sag, okay? Delivering the packages. That's exactly what they were meant to do, okay? But you're trying to bring them into the house. You're trying to turn them into a husband. What are you doing? What are you doing? No, 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 no. They're doing exactly what they were meant to do. Okay? Walking the streets. All right? That's what they were here to do. And that's exactly what they're going to do. And you let them do it. Your boyfriend has Venus, contraparallel Uranus. But you know what though? Sometimes you're his crazy Venus, Like it's really funny because like the funniest thing about astrology is like you look at your partner's chart, right? You're like, hmm. And then you have to look at yourself because you are the embodiment of their chart. So, you are the manifestation of whatever their placements are in their chart, right? So if they have a certain thing in their chart, baby, you're looking at yourself. You're looking in the mirror, right? Like, oh, he has Venus, blah blah blah, baby, that's you. It's exactly that's you right there. And here you are unalive, talking about astrology because Uranus is an astrology thing. You know what I mean? Uranus is also connected to astrology. And people that have a strong Uranus signature in their chart will usually love astrology. They'll love mysticism. Uranus is also a mystic. So this is the thing, Uranus has a lot to do with divination. We tend to think of Uranus as a very logical, practical, scientific uh, planet, but Uranus is also the genius, the celestial genius. Uranus is here to rain down cosmic wisdom from the divine, right? Which is why he was given modern rulership over Aquarius. And Aquarius is a sign of divination. Aquarius is a sign that's very intuitive, very psychic. It happens a little differently than the water signs, right? But of the air signs, I would definitely say Aquarius is probably the most intuitive. Well, Gemini is also very psychic and very intuitive. Gemini and Aquarius for sure. Gemini was actually traditionally Gemini rules over astrology and Mercury rules over astrology traditionally. And you'll see a lot of Uranus, Gemini energy in the charts of people that love astrology or practice astrology. Um, third house, ninth house things too. But yeah, those men are for the streets and you leave them there, okay? Anyways, so Venus Uranus conjunct. Sudden shifts or changes with money and financial situations, financial windfalls, money coming in though, changing the way that we make money, breakups, separations, love at first sight, shotgun weddings, Vegas, Moon and Leo, this weekend, fun, partying, Hermes, Thoth, yeah. Mercury, Gemini, Hermes, yep. Hermes and Thoth are uh they are archetypes that are given to Mercury. So Hermes is I think he's a real person, right? But he's also a mercurial person. Yeah. Hermes is the ancient god of messengers, Mercury, trade, Mercury, thieves, Mercury, travelers, Mercury, and athletes. No, that's actually the travelers and athletes piece is actually connected to Sagittarius, acting as a swift intermediary between gods and mortals. You see that? So Mercury, the planet of divination, right? Mercury, the messenger of the gods. We look to astrology to get messages from the planets, which are the gods. In case y'all didn't know that, we've been worshiping the planets, worshiping the gods at the beginning of time. Okay, the planets are the gods. We get messages from the planets, divine messages from the planets, right? Through astrology, which is Mercury. We bring divine wisdom from the upper realms to Earth. That's pretty much what astrology is. That's what astrology is doing. It's connecting us to the gods. It's the way the gods talk to us, right? So, all right, let's get back to the astrology of the week. Me and my little ninth house philosophical self, look at me connecting the dots for you guys. All right, let's keep going. 145. All right, what else we need to talk about? So yeah, Moon and Leo is gonna be really fun, really exciting. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's trining our new moon in Aries, and it's the fifth house away. So this does bring this Moon in Leo, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's gonna be focusing on fifth house things. So like children, fun, celebrations, parties, romance, lovers, hanging out with our friends, being social. That's gonna be Thursday, Friday, Saturday with the Moon in Leo. And then Sunday the moon gets to Virgo and things. Sunday's a good day to do like peyote or something. The moon goes into Virgo and it's with the South Node, and this kind of brings us to a little bit of like a karmic. There's like a karmic. We know that certain things are like done with on Sunday. We know that there's certain karmic things that we are releasing. Like when the moon goes into Virgo on Sunday, this could also be you're waking up hungover or you're waking up like tired from Saturday. But there could be something on Sunday where doing something healing or doing something spiritual or doing something private by yourself, going in your own little world, getting a tarot reading, going to a spa, going out in nature, playing with the animals. Moon in Virgo with the South Node on Sunday. I think that would be a really good thing. Just keep in mind though that there is the nodes are wrapping up in Virgo and Pisces mutable signs, Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sag. Whenever the moon transits like Pisces or Virgo, I want you guys to be very aware of kind of like what's moving out of your life or what's exiting out of your life, especially when the moon's going through Virgo, because The South Node is about surrender, release, clearing things out. It's also about spiritual revelation and epiphany. The South Node also activates dreams. So from Saturday night to Sunday, or even Sunday night going to Monday, I really want you to pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to your intuition, feel into what spirit is telling you, see what messaging the South Node and the moon is giving you. This could also be a day where, you do some South Node activities. You go to the movies, you go, um, do some photography stuff, you go to a magic show, um, you go to church, South Node, you do some drugs. Yep, that's a South Node thing too, doing drugs. Someone's doing drugs on Sunday, April 26th. It's the leftovers from 420. They still have a couple ounces left, so they're getting high on Sunday. Getting high at the Lord. South Node activities. So yeah, that's gonna be Sunday, April 26th, as the moon is in Virgo. The moon, but the what makes Sunday still feel really good, the reason why Sunday still feels really good is because the moon is trining the sun. So we have the sun in Virgo, we have the sun in Taurus and the moon in Virgo. And the sun trine the moon feels really good typically. Venus is in Gemini at this time, squaring the moon as it goes into Virgo, it squares Venus, and Venus is going to square the nodes. So what I will say, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, this combination of Venus squaring the nodes, Venus squared the moon, this can be about karmic turning points in relationships. Okay. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. There could be karmic turning points in relationships or in connections. That could be good or bad though. So this doesn't have to be about like, oh, a breakup or separation. This could be about someone that you've been dating or someone that you've been talking to, and all of a sudden the relationship is evolving and going into the next phase, right? So, or even meeting someone new that changes your life, that changes everything. So it doesn't have to be a bad thing, okay? But yeah, it's the moon square Venus and the node squaring Venus and the moon in Virgo. So just keep that in mind. Virgo is a sign of health and healing. Virgo is a sign of the body. Virgo is connected to our nervous system and it's also connected to work and being of service to people. So when the moon's in Virgo, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we can feel this call to like clean things up, organize things, go back to work in some type of way, start working on something. It's the energy of purification, repair, fixing something. Maybe on Sunday you got to, take your car in to get fixed, maybe something like this. Hanging out with pets or animals. That's also Virgo, you know. That's also Virgo. So, yeah, Moon in Virgo. Sunday, Monday, and then that leaves us off. That leads us into next week. Yeah, Monday, Moon in Virgo. Now, and then we've entered the Uranus and Gemini timeline. Saturn, Mars, Mercury wrapping up in Aries. Well, not Saturn, Mars wrapping up, Mercury wrapping up in Aries. Can't wait till Mercury goes into Taurus. Mercury in Taurus is going to feel really good. Venus trine Pluto. I really do think that people are going to be deepening relationships, especially committed ones. Also, air signs. I don't know. Air signs, Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. Definitely going to see some positive healing, transformation, or change with love for you guys with Venus and Gemini. I think Venus and Gemini is going to be really good for love and partnerships for like fire signs, but I don't think it's going to be good for love and partnerships for water and earth signs. Venus and Gemini tends to bring us a lot of information about our relationships, and it also compels us to discuss things and talk about things. And it kind of can also put us in a place of decision making, where we feel compelled to make a decision. So Venus and Gemini. Venus goes into Gemini, like I said earlier, on Friday, my bad. So Venus, Uranus conjunct Thursday. Venus goes into Gemini on Friday the 24th, and then Uranus will be going into Gemini on Sunday the 26th. Okay. We are in Taurus season. Taurus season asks us to ground, to stabilize, to nourish ourselves, to focus on our senses, getting, going to the spa, getting the medicure, getting your hairs done, getting your nails did, getting that massage. You know, Taurus is a very sensual, physical, comfort creature very comfort oriented sign. You know, it wants to nourish itself. It wants to feel good. It wants to slow down. It wants things to be very easy, very graceful, and it's very sensuous sign, right? So the sun being in Taurus wants us to focus on our five senses. It wants to focus on the health and the body and how we nourish ourselves, how we care for ourselves. Okay, so I want you guys to think about that. Carry that with you into this Taurus season. Okay, but I love you all so much. We've been here for like an hour and a half, 2 hours almost 2 hours. We were here. Um, Happy 420 for those of you that celebrate. I might partake in some 420 celebrations today. I don't know. We'll see. Kind of feeling it. I'm kind of feeling like, it's Taurus season. The sun is outside. I feel like it's all shining, the sun is shining outside. Today would be like a good park day or something. A good park day. Go out and get some sun with my little pups. Huh, puppy? He's sleeping. But I love you all so much. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Don't take yourself or your life so seriously. Okay? Have fun. Earth Day this week. That's awesome. I'm gonna be moving back to LA in a couple months, so I'll let y'all know when. I'm probably gonna be moving back to LA by July or August. I don't know, we'll see. Definitely before my birthday. So I'm gonna be coming back to LA, and I'm excited to be back down there and in the sun with my family, with my friends and everything. So, but I love you all. Take care of yourselves, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and post this on YouTube as well. So I'm going to post this on Instagram, but then I'm also going to post the recording to YouTube. So if you guys want to go back and if you missed it earlier, or if you want to go back and watch it on YouTube, you will. I'll be posting that up in a few hours. Okay. All right, y'all. Mwah! Besitos. I love you so much. Let's pull a going away card real quick. Let's see. Let's pull one card. A little last going away message from a different deck. This is a different deck, by the way. Spirit, what is the message? What is the message? What is the message? What's this last little message for the people? The Two of Wands. Where are you going? What's your plan? What's the future look? You know, you got the whole world in front of you. Look at this. The world is your oyster. Look at this. And you're thinking so small. You're over here looking down here like this when you should be looking up and outward and beyond. Look at this. I got the whole world in my hand. I got the whole world in my hand. I got the whole world in my hand, and I can have whatever I want. You think it's small. Think big, bitch. You're thinking small. Think big, bitch. I ain't got time for this. I gotta go. I can be over here giving people free advice and shit. Oh my God, I gotta go. I got time for this. You guys remember that? You guys see that video? You're thinking small when you need to be thinking big. Two of Wands. But you know what this is also about? This is also about some very important choices and decisions that we have to make. And I'm going to tell you something. Making big choices can be scary because we have to take the bigger the choice or the bigger the decision, the bigger responsibility that we have to make it. And so sometimes the weight of one choice or decision can be so overwhelming, so that we are afraid to make that choice and take that step and make that decision. But Spirit is saying, choose and then carry it through. Be more confident in your decision making. Trust yourself and trust that you know what is best for you. Trust in your own ability to make good choices and good decisions, not only for yourself, but also for others. Okay? Because some of you, Your choices and your decisions will have an impact on other people's lives, right? So it's not just like, oh, when you're choosing to do something, you have to consider all these other people, right? Because there's other people that are attached to you in some type of way, right? Family, kids, lover, whatever, right? Spouse. But you got to develop confidence in your decision making process. Because the thing is, when we doubt our ability to make good choices and decisions for ourselves, you know what happens? Paralysis. We don't choose anything. We do nothing. And we get stuck in a place of inaction because we're afraid to act and do and choose. And that's not good. Momentum requires choice making. And you got to get really good at making choices for yourself. Develop a decision making process. Trust in your ability to make good choices for yourself, right? Even if those choices, other people don't want you to make them, but baby, you got to do what you got to do. A lot of you, like, your decision making and your choice making was not fostered or was taken away from you, or you weren't you weren't like taught how to like choose things for yourself. Like you have a parent or you had parents that like did everything for you or like, made choices for you, or you even to this day, there's some people to this day, they're 50, 60 years old, and you know who they're calling before they make a choice? They call their mom or their dad. They're in their 30s, 40s, and they still need their parents' approval before they make a choice or a decision, and they still don't know how to make choices for themselves. Develop that wherewithal, that confidence, that sense of self, that individual self, that, okay, willpower, develop that willpower, okay, so that you can go ahead and make choices confidently for yourself and be happy with the choices that you make. So this is our mantra for today and for the week, okay? I choose the life that I want. 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 Because it's a choice. It's a choice. You have to make that choice. You have to choose the life that you want. I choose the life that I want. So in that choice, what do you choose? Do you choose joy? Do you choose fun? Do you choose abundance? Do you choose grace? You know? Do you choose an easy life? That's fine. Those are all good things, right? Those are all good things. I choose the life that I want. Not anybody else. Not anybody else. Me. I choose the life that I want. It's such a powerful statement. It's like a reclamation of like personal authority. I choose the life that I want. This is how when I do like affirmations, you hear the tone I'm using, that's literally how I sound. I choose the life that I want. 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 See all that? Did you see what I did there? Did you see that? Did you see what I did there? These affirmations, I'm telling you, they're so powerful and they work. But you got to believe them though, you know? You really got to feel it. You got to believe, you got to let those statements ring through your body. You can't just be like standing in the mirror, I choose the life that I want. I choose the life that. No, it's not like that repetitive act. It's this declaration. I choose the life that I want. Okay? What happened? I just got all these cards mixed up. Got these two decks mixed up. Oops. It's over here. Okay, two of wands. Oh, like split the deck of the lover's card. Oh, it's a message for me. I'm keeping that one. That's not for you guys. That one's for me. Okay. That's my message. So not everything's for you guys. This one's for you though. No, I'm kidding. The nine of wands or the nine of swords. I'm on that one. You can keep. I love it. I love it. Okay, you guys. I gotta go. I'm done being a funny guy. The moon's in Gemini today, so if I was acting a little silly today, I had a few moments. The moon's in Gemini today. Okay, so I'm feeling a little funny and feeling a little mischievous today. Might go out in the town and might go out in the town and catch myself a little FedEx man. I might go out there and get myself a little UPS man. Oh, you deliver packages? That's a mighty nice package you got going on there. Where's that going? Where's that package heading, baby? I hope it's headed to my house. I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm being a menace. I gotta go. 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 I'm being a menace. I'm gonna get myself in trouble over here. I'm over here getting myself Instagram banned. I gotta go. I love you guys. Mwah. I'll see you. Bye.